Hey everyone! Welcome to Hillsborough Public Library's online presentation of Book Bites, Middle School Morsels. During June and July, Book Bites focuses weekly on not-to-be-missed titles for school kids. Each week is designed for an intended audience. First chapter books are explored in week 2. Maybe you saw last week's presentation by Karen Hayes. Week 3 features middle school and young adult fiction of high interest. And finally, Week 4 bites into juvenile and young adult graphic novels. I'm Laura Mikowski, and since it's Week 3, I'm going to share with you 6th through 8th grade titles that are simply delicious. All are devour-worthy, meaning they're quick reads that will certainly steal your heart, but not a lot of your time. We'll explore purpose, presentation, and format, and dish on why these stories will nourish your mind and soul and demand to be up next on your ever-expanding to-do and to-read list. As a reminder, these books are available in both ebook and e-audio format through our online catalog, wccls.org. Libby and Overdrive accounts are available with your library card, which makes it easy to have something on hand when you're hungry for a story. You'll also find links to Bibliocommon book lists created and based on our presentations. Okay, are you ready to dig in? 3 is a magic number in literature and art, so that's where we'll begin. The genre we're exploring is #Own Voices, which are books written by a member of the marginalized community from which it depicts. This adds authenticity to what is being told and shared. Through #Own Voices stories, readers explore their own belief and biases in approachable and heartfelt ways that will extend the conversation and understanding of our world. On that note, I'd like to introduce our 3 selections, heavy hitters to kick off with. I couldn't rationalize keeping these books to myself, especially not now, when it's important to have other windows into the world that move beyond social media and can extend into our own lives and bring understanding of those around us. These books are those windows open wide, waiting for you to jump into and take a good long look at. So our first book we have is Ghost Boys by Jewel Parker Rhodes, followed by The Bridge Home by Padma Venkatraman, and finally The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. All 3 stories bring memorable experiences forward and shed light on ongoing racism, the path it follows, and the lives it affects. The first 2 titles are contemporary, meaning they're set in the now. The Downstairs Girl takes us back to another much earlier century and references life then as a young Chinese American finding her voice while struggling to exist in a colorblind world. Let's take a closer look at these 3. Do you believe in ghosts? Did you know there are ghosts in Chicago, in Minneapolis, Portland, New York City? Almost too many cities to count. They are there with purpose and commonality. You'll find out exactly why they can find no peace. Jerome is one of these ghosts, and he tells his story in the bluntest of ways. How about I share a little bit of it with you? I'm still dead, alone on the field. The policeman closest to me is rubbing his head. In his hand, his gun dangles. The other policeman is watching Ma like she's going to hurt someone. Then he shouts, "Stay back." People are edging closer, snapping pictures, taking video with their phones. Stay back. The policeman's hand covers his holster. More people come. Some shout. I hear my name. Jerome. It's Jerome. Still everyone stays back. Some curse, some cry. Doesn't seem fair. Nobody ever paid me any attention. I skated by, kept my head low. Now, I'm famous. Told through short flashbacks, Jerome moves the story's timeline between his death, circumstances leading to it, and the fallout of the white officer who killed him. Why can't Jerome control where he is and when exactly he might appear? Jerome can't even figure out why he's sticking around. As Black Lives Matter sweeps our country, this story is a perfect means of exploring institutional racism and police aggression. It shows us exactly how much is lost when an innocent Black child's life is taken forcefully and wrongly. Jerome is joined by countless young black silenced too early ghosts, like Emmett Till, who is there for Jerome's journey. Jerome does finally connect with someone who is alive and seems the unlikeliest of allies, the white officer's daughter, Sarah. But what does that mean, and why does it even matter? What can they do to help commit to the truth of Jerome's death? Put this one on your plate, especially if you believe in the power of voice as an agent for change and justice. I'm pretty sure that by the end of the story, you too will believe in those concepts and ghosts. Our next title is The Bridge Home by Padma Venkatraman. Running Away. Running away is often portrayed as a grand adventure in the world of children's books. But of course, there's another side to it. How is it that there are millions of impoverished children around the world who quote-unquote live on the streets? Viji's story explores life as one of these children living in Chennai, India. She's left with no choice but to run away in order to live without family violence. She and her sister head to the streets of a bustling town in India, intent on new lives. But she's unsettled for good reason. She's got absolutely no money, no home, and no one to lean on. Would you be able to live in a cardboard home on a bridge and find any peace at all? First of all, how do you find food? Viji's journey will certainly surprise you and show you how it's done, and what helping hands do exist to move her inch by inch into a stable environment, one that includes family, friends, food, and a roof over her head. This is another quick read into another world that, too, will open and expand your heart and mind, sending you on a journey across the globe that, despite the distance, holds universal truths. And finally, my third choice is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. Jo Chon is ahead of her time. We join her in Atlanta, Georgia at the turn of the century, an especially harsh time to live in, but especially so if you were Chinese American. Historical fiction allows us to experience the past and get a taste of what life might have been like then. But what changes, especially if your ethnicity isn't white? What's it like to not even be considered a citizen because of skin color? What would you do to escape the ugliness of rapid racism and continued injustices? Would you even be able to make your dreams come true? Jo's story is anything but bleak. The brisk pace, the wide variety of characters, and the choices made by Jo combine for an unforgettable tale of both heritage and ingenuity. This book is in our young adult collection, but it's easily accessible to 6th graders and up. Again, we find another quick read, another #Own Voices experience that will expand your world and certainly change your mind. Without further ado, I'd like to share an audio sample from The Downstairs Girl. This is my first choice for a first taste of the first chapter. See if you agree with me. Let's play a little bit of it.
He stops walking and squares his cap so that it's flat enough to play chess on. Here's my stop. Good luck, Jo. Thanks, but keep some for yourself. He winks, then slips down a narrow alley to use the back door to Buck's bombs. Old Jen tells me things have changed for the worse since I was born. After good old President Hayes returned the South to home rule, Dems told colored people they should use the back alleys from then on, which pretty much sums up everything. Fluffing the sleeves of my russet dress, which have lost their puff and hang like a pair of deflated lungs, I carry myself a block farther to English's millinery. The shop stands between a candle maker and a seed store, meaning it can smell like a Catholic church or alfalfa, depending on which way the wind blows. This morning, however, the air is still too crisp to hold a scent. The picture windows are as clear as our Lord's eyes, how I left them last night, with several mauve hats displayed. Mauve is having a moment. Instead of going through the front, I also trek to the back entrance. Folks care less about which door Chinese people use nowadays, compared with when the laborers were shipped in to replace the field slaves after the war. Perhaps whites feel the same way about us as they do about ladybugs. A few are fine, but a swarm turns the stomach.
Wait for it. Here's some other titles that are also worth waiting for, which are essentially Readalikes of the 3 books we just featured. Next, we'll feature Readalikes, and those will be books you'll definitely enjoy if you embrace Ghost Boys, The Bridge Home, and The Downstairs Girl. Let's begin with the Ghost Boy Readalikes. The Hate You Give is by Angie Thomas. This is one of those breakthrough stories that reflects today's headlines through the eyes of teenage Star. She navigates 2 worlds, one in her big city neighborhood with her family, and then as one of the only Black students attending a private, mostly white prep school. We see those worlds intersect when she witnesses the murder of her best friend at the hands of police. With Star's story, we begin to understand the consequences of choice and the weight of her worlds. There's also Stars Beneath Our Feet. This is an upper grade title that examines what it's like to try and live and find peace after the death of your brother at the hands of a gang. Then we have Readalikes for the Bridge Home. I chose Ticket to India, which explores the controversial decision to create Pakistan and how that event still affects generations of its peoples. There's also elements of a grand adventure as a multi-generational family mystery unfolds. Amal Unbound is another across-the-globe survival story. Amal is indentured in today's world, meaning her life is in her own until she pays back a supposed wrong. Finally, The Downstairs Girl. Prairie Lotus is the antithesis to the Little House on the Prairie series, set in the same time, South Dakota country in the 1880s. Biracial Hannah and her white father once again struggle to gain acceptance in their newest white community at a time of great ethnic divide and blatant racism. All of these books are heavy hitters because of the topics they address. The characters have strong, memorable personalities that keep it real and quickly move the story along, while at the same time introducing U.S. history that is often swept under the rug. There's a purpose to hashtag Own Voices titles, and I hope by the end of each story, you'll find yourself more engaged in today's world and question yesterday yourself. Please devour these titles and many more as they become available. Okay, so thank you for joining me for Book Bites, Middle School Morsels. Next week, we'll dive into tween and teen graphic novels, and I hope you'll join me for those goodies. Until then, dig right in and keep on reading.